Hey YouTube, I am going to be reacting to a YouTuber called Finding Sky. She uploaded a video like 3 hours ago about LGBT conservatives. I'm going to link the video in the description, but I'm going to be watching it and providing my thoughts, opinions, and critiques of the video. So let's get into this here.
They just bought their
Conservative have been popping up left and right.
Oh my god, trust me, I'm a conservative.
And they face a lot of backlash for doing so. Terms like traitor, friendly fire, and my personal favorite, pick me, are common insults thrown around at those who go against the status quo. I recently saw a video.
Is being a conservative really against the status quo? I mean, considering Trump got elected in 2024, it feels like conservatism is actually on the rise. And even in the gay community, there's plenty of gay conservatives, especially white gay conservatives. So I don't really think it's against the status quo.
Video with Matt Bernstein and ContraPoints titled LGBT Conservatives that gave me some insight into how people on the left view this group on the right, and I wanted to comment on some of the things they said.
Yes, queer people should be allowed to be conservative, and I'm not going to strip them of that, but also I'm still going to unfortunately think less of them.
Take their self-hate and then use that to hate other people and use that to bolster politics that's going to hurt all of us. Well, at a certain point, self-hate has become other hate. You're passing it on, you're sort of projecting it outwards.
If there were straight
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong, really, particularly with what they said. I mean, a lot of conservatives have fucked up values, and I think it's normal and acceptable to judge people with those kind of values. Obviously, not all conservatives have messed up values, but a lot of them do.
people running around naked, whipping each other in the street, people would have a problem with that too. So it's not fair to say that it's just projected.
Well, yes, that does happen in the context of pride parades, but I don't really think that's a common thing, and you can't use that to generalize the entire LGBT community or movement. And if you do that, and you're so quick to do that, it makes me wonder, like, what kind of prejudices you have. And are these prejudices motivated by some self-hate?
Homophobia that people are condemning this type of extremism. People are going to.
That isn't homophobia. What is homophobia is the fact that people are associating LGBT people with that kind of behavior when it's really not about LGBT people. It is about a fringe minority acting out, and people are using that to generalize the entire LGBT community and the entire LGBT movement and just pride parades in general. That is homophobic.
To call out inappropriate behavior, gay or not. When members of our own community are saying that kids and kinks should coexist, people.
Who is saying that? Are these people like people that actually are in high numbers? Are these people who actually have any influence outside of Twitter or Tumblr? Are these people who are not already terminally online? Like, who are the people that are saying that?
People are going to say something. It doesn't matter that the person who was saying that is gay. It would be just as much of an issue if the person saying it was straight.
Exactly. But why are people acting like this is somehow like a major problem in the LGBT community when it's not? It's a bunch of people that are already on the fringe side of the community saying these things. The average gay person is, of course, going to agree with you that, like, kids should not be exposed to kink.
Difference is that gay people already have the stereotype of being sexual deviants.
Yeah, and that stereotype is homophobic.
So when stuff like this gets portrayed in the media, it reinforces all of those negative stereotypes.
Well, the media hyper focuses on that behavior because a lot of them are already homophobic and they're looking for anything to justify their homophobia. Especially media networks like Fox News love to overly highlight that kind of behavior and ignore everything else during Pride because it already reinforces their beliefs that gay people are sexual deviants.
There's got to be people within the LGBT community calling this type of stuff out so that the public can be aware that this type of behavior isn't something that's supported by the entirety of the community.
Well, I think honestly, most of the community agrees with you that that behavior is not acceptable. Like, I don't know where you get this idea that the majority of the community think that that's okay. Like, of course, people are going to speak out and say that that's not okay.
A lot of the LGBT conservative creators aren't even that conservative when you listen to their viewpoints. They're really just kind of moderate or center-right leaning. It's just that if you even slightly disagree with the left, you get ostracized and labeled as a homophobic, self-hating, projecting, pick-me, grifter Republican.
In a certain part of
I mean, if you are expressing beliefs that indicate that, then of course you're going to be called that.
conservative media that like you see more and more queer people occupying, which is the conservative queer influencer. And it's like they amass these really big audiences.
The fact that queer people can occupy these conservative spaces and amass such a large audience should prove that there is growing acceptance on the right for LGBT. There are tons of
I really don't think that's true. I think there's growing acceptance for gay people believing in the right, not really acceptance for gay people in general. The people that already are against gay people are not going to suddenly like gay people more because there's gay people that already agree with them. They're just going to feel more justified in their bigotry.
videos online saying how people got kicked out of the LGBT community and pushed away from the left, but were perfectly welcomed on the conservative side. Now,
Yeah, but I think a lot of those people realize that they're going to only be welcomed in the conservative side as long as they agree with everything that the conservative side says.
that doesn't mean that all conservatives are welcoming, but not all Democrats are welcoming either.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very diverse community and it's full of people with different opinions. It's not really a monolith like you're trying to suggest.
Even Obama was once against gay marriage.
Whether gays and lesbians should be able to get married, I struggle with this. I have friends.
I have a gay friend.
I believe that marriage is between a man and a woman.
I don't personally consider myself conservative, but I do get grouped in with them because we talk about a lot of similar issues and hold some similar positions. As both a gun owner and a Latina admirer, you can see where I struggle to commit to one political party, but I've always thought of this as a good thing because it allows me to understand both perspectives and be especially vigilant to the way members of each political party portray their viewpoints. This is precisely why I use the sponsor of today's video, Ground News, to see exactly what both U.S. Supreme Court to your own informed conclusion. Each news story center. You can see here a recent LGBT story about the U.S. Supreme Court upholding its ban for sex changes for minors. It gives you a quick summary of the articles, the number of sources reporting, and breaks down the potential bias from both sides. You can clearly see the differences in headlines, with the right using terms like child mutilation and the left using terms like gender-affirming care. One of their best features is called Blind Spot, where it shows you what news is only being covered by one political side, and ignore the QR code up here to get 40% off of their limited access best plan for just $5. A significant portion of this hour-long conversation is them trying to come up with reasons why an LGBT member might be conservative. They raise these possibilities. Maybe they're grifting. Maybe they're a pick-me. Maybe they hate themselves. They keep looking for psychological reasons, but it never occurs to them that maybe it's because their own community has turned on them for having disagreements. Maybe it's because
Depends on what those disagreements are. If you're somebody like Ariel Scarcella and saying shit like trans women are men looking to rape women, then obviously a lot of the LGBT community is not going to be welcoming towards that opinion because it is a very bigoted opinion. You're calling a bunch of people rapists.
even mentioning that trans women being in women's sports might not be a good idea will get you immediately labeled as transphobic.
I don't think that's true. It depends on how you say it. I think there is room for discussion and debate on whether or not trans women should be in women's sports. But a lot of the people who are adamantly against it are also people who are openly transphobic. So there is a correlation there.
Maybe it's because any condemning of public indecency at pride parades will get you called a right-wing homophobe.
Where? Like, can you show me instances of that actually happening? Or are these instances happening on Twitter and Tumblr where there's a lot of overzealous, chronically online people trying to make points?
Eventually, people are going to start drifting from a political party that makes no effort to acknowledge any alternative perspectives. People will condemn LGBT members.
Well, honestly, I think these people were never really that left-leaning to begin with. They were probably moderate already, and they moved more to the right because they find that the right agrees with them the most on things. I don't really think these people were ever really that left-leaning.
For leaving the left, but did any of us really leave? Or were we shoved out, labeled as right wing, and then called a traitor? A lot of us actually have a very moderate position, but unfortunately politics have been weaponized to such a degree that people will invalidate somebody's perspective by labeling them as their opposite political party.
The conservative queer influencer, there's Blair White, there's Ariel Scarcella.
Over 8,000 men have permanently broken free from the P word by watching one single video training that you can actually watch by clicking the link.
He name drops you.
They started saying trans women are women, and I said, okay. And then they said, well, if you don't find trans women attractive, you're a bigot. And then I would say, like, I don't find every woman attractive. And then I was just like, you know what? Like, I don't have to say.
Yeah, but Ariel Scarcella says that she doesn't really even consider trans women to be women. That is transphobic. Saying that you're not attracted to trans women, I think most reasonable people would agree that if it's because you have a genital preference or whatever, that doesn't make you automatically transphobic. But what does make you transphobic is saying that trans women are men or implying that trans women transition because they want to sexually assault women.
Say it that way. Like, I don't like dick.
They started using terms like genital preference instead of sexuality.
Genital preference is the most homophobic thing you could say. And I literally went on Jubilee and I said that to one of the people. They were like, well, that's your genital preference. They, them, of course. And I was like, there's no such thing as genital preference. There's such a thing as sexual orientation. I don't want to suck a dick. And they that was like the main thing that everyone, I knew it was going to go viral on Jubilee. Yeah. That's why I said it.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's literally the truth.
Well, that's what being a lesbian is not liking wiener.
One of the other reasons I left the left was because the complete changing of words and definitions. There's a big difference between being gay and being queer. Queer is an ideology. Being gay is just a sexual orientation. The truth is we're not conservatives, really, the majority of us. We're just not left.
Basically, if you don't agree with 100% of their ideologies, you're called a homophobic Republican.
You can't even understand what they're doing without reference to their queerness. The reason that they're saying these things is inextricably tied up with their queerness, right? So no, it doesn't mean like, oh, you're not gay if you're Republican. It just means that you're a sort of self-annihilating gay person.
I actually feel the complete opposite. I feel like the LGBT...
Well, I mean, she's not completely wrong considering historically and even right now, a lot of conservatives and Trump, they are against gay rights. They want to roll back legal protections. So what she's saying isn't even completely wrong. If you are gay and you're heavily Republican, like, you are voting against your own best interests because historically speaking, the Republican Party has been against gay people the most.
People who are conservative have completely decentralized their sexuality as the core of their belief system. I think a lot of gay conservatives chose the right for reasons outside of their sexuality. Maybe they...
Okay, and that's valid, but it's also valid to say that they might be kind of kicking themselves in the ass by doing that because there are a lot of Republicans who do want to roll back legal protections for gay people.
Agree more with the economic policies, or maybe because they want less government involvement. There are reasons outside of gay rights that someone would choose to be Republican. Just like
That's true, but these are people that have literally said that the reason they moved right is because they have been shunned by the left for having different opinions involving the LGBT community.
I personally know Democrats who own guns and support gun rights. There are gay people who support the Republican Party. Someone's sexuality doesn't have to be the sole dictator of how they believe the country should be run. It doesn't mean
Nobody is saying that, but I do think that gay Republicans are kind of shooting themselves in the foot, because they are supporting a party that has historically been against them. Which I don't think is that wrong of a statement to make. That does not mean that they have to then agree with everything the Democrat Party does. People are allowed to have different opinions.
mean that they are self-hating or self-annihilating. They just don't make their sexuality the very center of their belief.
They are self-hating, though. If they're saying stuff like, oh, I don't make being gay my personality, and they are so insistent on trying to prove to straight people that they aren't like one of those gays, like it does indicate some insecurity and self-hating.
Plus, we have to give credit where it's due. The traditional beliefs of each political party have shifted a lot. This idea that the entirety of the Republican Party is against gay marriage is just no longer true. Trump casually walks around carrying a rainbow flag and has made no effort to retract gay marriage.
So, Trump isn't necessarily completely against gay rights, but a lot of the people he associates with are against gay rights, and they want to advocate against legal protections of gay people. So it's not necessarily just Trump, but it's a lot of the people that Trump supports are against gay people.
Like a lot of people said that he would try to. Every candidate has different values and goals. There are Republicans who hold some traditionally Democratic policies and vice versa. There's a big problem with purporting the idea that gay acceptance is something that could never exist on the right. Since when was the acceptance of gay people something to be gatekept by the left?
Well, it's not. Of course it's not. But historically speaking, that's been the case. The right has historically been against gay marriage and gay rights. And that's been the case for, I would think, most of the Republican politicians. So that is my overall reaction to the video. I hope you all enjoy it, and I will try to post as much as I can. I want to find more videos to react to, but thanks for watching, and I hope you all enjoy it.